Welcome to our unusually black screen. I apologize for that. My name is Bryant Francis, contributing editor at Gamasutra, and I have a new face here in the window on the bottom corner of the screen. Would you please introduce yourself, Alyssa?
Hello, I'm Alyssa Macklin, and as of roughly a month ago, I'm also a contributing editor at Gamasutra.
Woo!
Yay!
Uh,
Hi, hello.
One moment, I have to handle something here. But yeah, we are here today streaming the episode 3 of Batman, a Telltale series. Alyssa, have you played any other Telltale games, and which ones have you played?
I've played everything but Batman and the best one, which is Borderlands. So I've played half of that one. But everything else, obsessed over it, played every episode multiple times.
The best one, but we will allow that Batman could potentially be the best one.
We'll see in a couple episodes, but...
We'll see, yeah, we have to let him finish. I'll say, I've been keeping up with this series, and it's pretty interesting. Sorry, just one moment, I need to get this tweet out. It's like pretty interesting because it upends a lot of the Batman mythos, which I think is just there's some interesting stuff to talk about in terms of adaptation and games adapting other media that they license. Sorry, one second.
That's fine. Oh, I feel like especially with Batman, we've seen this story regurgitated so many times in almost the exact same way with small differences between each of them.
Yeah.
But this one, some of the stuff you were talking about before, or what they did in the earlier episodes, is really different from what we might have seen in the past, 10 iterations of the Batman story.
Yeah, which is weird that the Batman story has been so iterated in recent years. For something that is strangely supposed to be practically religious grade mythos by now.
Yeah.
It's so strange that everyone seems to need to retell it over and over again. I just watched Batman v Superman, and they did it very badly. Great.
Martha.
Oh God, I have off this. I can't. Some of it's not quite safe for work. The way they just the way they did it, I felt violated by. Did you watch it? Did you see
yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Did you see it the way oh, we're gonna have the gun go right under the pearls like that, and I was like, that's
a little sexual for a murder, assault, and theft, but
yeah, that's disturbing, Zack Snyder. But Telltale seems to have for good cause done the story again, because you get to watch the murder, not in VR. Apparently the VR game lets you do it in VR. But you get to watch the murder because it's relevant to the story, which is, in this version of the story, spoilers for those who haven't played 1 and 2, Thomas Wayne was apparently not a nice person. I was about to say something very different there, but I'm a professional. Thomas Wayne wasn't a nice person. He did some bad things that have now turned the city against the Wayne family because they seem as crooked as every other mob family. And our villains so far in this story are the Penguin, who is not Danny DeVito-ish for once. The Penguin is a young, strapping, kind of British man, closer to the current show Gotham's version, but still his own swarthy rogue. And a mysterious unnamed person, and they're both the children of Gotham, or children of Arkham, the children of Arkham, people who were experimented on, their parents were experimented on in Arkham Asylum by Thomas Wayne. And so with that, I think it's a good time to get playing, don't you think?
Yeah.
Alright, let's get rid of the black screen.
Suspects westbound on 15th Street.
So this is the 3rd episode that came out today?
Yesterday,
right?
yeah.
Yesterday, cool.
So
it's
it's fresh.
Can you confirm?
Negative. They're taking shots at us whenever we
Typing
get
that
close.
episode. Is that Gordon?
Understood. Stay on.
Yeah, this is Gordon,
We'll
looking
think
pretty
so.
Gordon-ish.
Yeah.
Help would be nice.
For some context, Gordon's a little pissed at Batman right now because I haven't been helping him as much, but that's because I've been trying to negotiate some other relationships as I keep this thing
Everyone's
together. But
stretched
I like
thin.
Gordon.
I'm doing what I can.
See, he's overworked. He needs some help.
Got a good
Set
taste
to
in
go.
trench coats, though.
Yeah.
Good man.
That light.
So you said that your interactions
You give me a
between
number to
Bruce
call
Wayne and
right through my
Batman, they're
message.
treated as two separate characters, kind of, or how is that
Sort of.
reflected in the gameplay?
It's kind of like
I didn't have a lot of options.
they affect each other,
So,
even
here
though
we
you're
are.
playing the same person.
It's pretty obvious.
Sorry.
Says the
No,
man
it's
dressed
okay.
like a giant.
Important decision.
But it's kind of like where if
I'd
you do
rather
something
have
as
you
Batman, it'll
arrested
piss
than
someone
come here
off
for help.
who
But
when
the
they're
truth
talking to
is we're
Bruce Wayne.
desperate.
So it can affect
Mm-hmm.
the
Calling
there's
a
a back and
truce,
forth, even though
just
people
for
don't
the
know they're
night.
the same person. See, like, he's calling for a truce because my relationship with him is a
Right.
little strained right now.
Renee
Okay.
Montoya, one of my officers.
The one who tried to shoot me.
Yeah.
I know, but hear me out.
Trying to catch
She's
up with
trying
all
to
this,
clear her
this
name after
breaking
those
plot.
Animals
Yeah.
manipulated her into killing Falcone. She's supposed to be on leave, but she got a tip on the Children of Arkham's chemical stash. Went rogue.
I always feel bad
Interesting. Out there
talking through
alone.
Telltale
I
games
can't
because there's so
scare
much good
anyone if
dialogue in
they're
them
up.
usually.
Yeah, we
I told
did
her
turn the
to
subs
wait.
on so
This
people
is
in the
personal.
chat could watch with us.
Children of Arkham pumped her full of that junk.
Yeah.
I'll find
Oh yeah, quick catch up.
Don't take
Renee
those
Montoya,
children
who's
of
usually,
Arkham
you know,
together.
like a specific
That's
kind
what
of
I like
character
to
in the
hear.
Batman mythos,
These children of Arkham
tried to
are
kill
everywhere all of a
Falcone
sudden.
in
Where
the
the hell
hospital
they all
because she was
come
pumped
from?
full of, like, it's not Joker
I never
toxin,
heard of them before.
but it's a chemical that the children of Arkham are
And
using
that
to drive
debate.
people mad.
You want answers? Ask Oswald Cobblepot.
Cobblepot?
Okay.
I'll bring him in for questioning.
Gordon, this is Schultz. Over.
Gordon here.
We got a problem with the mayor, sir.
What happened? Is he okay?
I don't know. We lost him. He took
Uh-oh.
off and left us behind.
Yeah, Harvey
Christ,
Dent is
one
now
more
the
crisis I
mayor
can't deal with
because
right
the
now.
other mayoral candidate was killed
keep both Montoya
by the
and
children of
Jen
Arkham
safe.
at the end of last episode. It gets pretty dark.
I feel like that's usually how elections in Gotham goes. It's just the incumbent's killed, somebody else takes over.
Oh god.
Launch the drones.
Oh god, that's what happened in the movie Dark Knight, didn't it?
Lucius has made
Yeah,
some
see?
upgrades. I'll
The
let
plot.
him explain.
Yeah, and Lucius
Who are you
Fox
talking to?
is new to this
You
episode.
got a whole team
Okay.
or something?
My butler.
Yeah, hilarious.
All right, patching you
That was
through
pretty
to
good.
R&D in Wayne Enterprises.
So is anyone in on the Batman secret in this universe yet?
Alfred is,
But
Lucius Fox apparently is.
I thought you'd need an
Um,
audio feed as well.
Oh, that's Lee. Isn't that
microphone
the guy who
incredibly
plays Lee in The Walking Dead?
They can pick up sounds
I'm
from up
not
to
sure.
500
That would be really cool
yards.
though. That guy's
In some
amazing.
cases,
Yeah.
you'll even be able to hear through walls, like X-ray peering. Nice work.
And
Talk to you
Catwoman's
soon.
figured it out. Selena Kyle has figured it out,
Any
like, on
idea
their
where
first
they might
meeting.
be?
This is supposed to be early in
Montoya's
Batman's
car
career,
was spotted crossing the bridge to Arkham Island.
so it looks like our objective today
Could
will
be where
be
the handoff
to
is
chase
happening.
down Renee Montoya. And just a reminder for those of us listening in the chat,
Probably
or
headed
for
for
those
his
listening in the
acceptance
chat, feel
speech.
free to weigh in with, like,
He just
questions or
left the
comments,
hospital
because
and we
we will
lost sight of
gladly
him.
take them and respond to them as we play. Let's see. We have to figure out which one.
What do you keep looking at?
That car's been behind us since the hospital.
It's a nice little Mass Effect Omni
This
tool
guy
Batman
trying
has
to
this time
drive us off
around.
the
Yeah.
road? Just drive faster. What the? Oh, damn it!
Weird.
Barrels of this stuff to transfer. Not a big window to unload all of that. They said they
So I know we're like early into
It's gotta be
this
done.
episode, but how do you feel the
wanna argue
decision
with them,
payoff has
be my
been
guest. You just keep
in this
an eye
Telltale
out
game?
for
Because I know in the
that
past there's been kind of
Nobody
like
move.
all
This is
points lead to
police.
the same ending, even though you have all these decisions throughout.
Yeah. There actually has been, I'd say, much payoff, but it's mostly been like how characters react to the idea of Batman and Bruce Wayne. Like, Batman
Okay.
is still something of a terror to people, but I'm trying to, like, because I believe in Batman. In my opinion of Batman as a character has a lot to do with Batman as, like, a noble force and not a dark asshole. I've been trying to play nice as much as I can, but it is genuinely, like, trying to tilt you that way. This is
Okay.
an interesting choice. So this is like a thing, like, picking where Batman goes is a pretty big deal. Because, as it is, I think sometimes in, like, I remember Wolf Among Us also used this one pretty well. Just choosing where to go, like, and locking out another section of content is a pretty good thing Telltale does. Because it tends to, like, have a big character. It's a big, quick way to, like, affect, like, why weren't you there helping this character kind of deal.
Yeah.
I really want to help Harvey, but I know this chemical thing's really important. So hopefully I don't screw everything up.
Headed to the
It's
construction
a wrong
site.
choice. You messed up.
Dang
Send
it.
whatever men you can for debt.
Doing my job. I'm doing my
I'll
Batman
round
job.
up what officers I can. Gonna have to head out there myself, too. I know this is risky, Batman. Just be careful.
He did the thing. He did the thing. Superhero landing. Superhero vanishing. New World Order. So yeah, this one's written by. This episode comes to us by way of Emily Garrison and Nicole Martinez, two Telltale developers who've been working on the series for a little bit. But apparently, I've seen them tweeting a lot that they got to do a lot of really cool things with this episode. So we'll see how, like, Bruce's relationship with Selena plays out. I think that was some of the stuff they were talking about on Twitter. Seraph, they do tell you what happened to Bruce Wayne's parents. You get to, like every other Batman thing, relive it in vivid detail, just like you do in Batman VR. Although you don't get to like wiggle the guy's nose as he does it.
Yeah, that's something I noticed when I was watching Gotham for the first time, like a couple weeks ago, is you've seen like Batman's parents be murdered like in 20 different ways every few years.
Yeah.
Good reminder.
Oh yeah, this finishing blow thing is like a new combat mechanic they did, like where if you build up enough, if you do the QTEs well enough, you can like end the fight early.
Drop the gun.
Oh, cool.
Look, I promise I'm not gonna shoot.
Yeah, that looked a lot more
you,
involved than the
I
like
used to
typical
think you
arrow
were
mash
right.
Q kind of
Yeah.
gameplay.
Although it was arrow
I was
mash
wrong.
Q.
Yeah, but
both
you got to
have
hold
much
Shift
bigger
and E,
problems.
I got to
so
hold Shift and E, yeah, wow.
I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? Those guys had me pinned down.
It's okay. It's in the past.
See?
I forgive
I'm
you.
nice Batman.
Thank you.
This is how I like playing with
It means
him.
a lot coming from you.
forgiving Batman.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking coming out here alone. I nearly blew it. I could be dead. Or you could be dead. And it'd be on me.
Don't beat yourself
Oh, cool.
up. You did a lot of good here today.
I like that they're giving her
Sometimes
character
the risk
development.
is worth it.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. I still don't understand
I feel like that's one thing Telltale, like, the games are dependent on it, and they usually do it pretty well, is actually, like, get you invested in the characters.
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing, like, it's, God, like, I really, I wish we could have had Emily on the talk today, because she has a theatrical background, and there's a thing about, like, games sometimes have a need to either, like, create characters who are surface level, or create characters who, like, you get super close to, and you sort of wonder, you sort of have to, like, I think, like, when you're developing games, you have to navigate that difference, and obviously Telltale sold themselves as, like, interactive TV, sort of.
They knew I was coming.
But how
seem to
they
be getting info
get
on
you
the
to, like, care about
GCPD's
characters is
whereabouts.
still a task on its
Not
own.
sure how.
That's
Yeah.
I need an
applicable to other
update on
games.
Harvey.
Bringing it up
It's
now.
even like decisions like where you were talking to her, and like the decisions may not have actually affected how the game progressed, but it affected how you felt about that character and that relationship that they had.
Yeah. Oh boy.
You'd better
Did
get
you
down
murder
there.
Harvey
On
Dent?
my way.
Yep. Oh, yeah, the Batmobile's rad in this, because it's also a Lamborghini that transforms into a Batmobile.
Dang.
Which kind of makes sense, right? Like, Bruce Wayne really should,
Yeah, it
Like-
wouldn't make sense for him to go back to his garage and swap out cars after he
yeah.
took the suit.
Oh boy.
He's got the stompiest walk. I love it.
Oh boy, whoa, Harvey did bad.
Oh. Is that his like Two-Face version of this game? It's just he's got a black eye for half the game.
I don't know, I saw a screenshot. Oh, jeez.
With his bare hands.
Dent did that.
Whew.
Guess the fella's lucky Dent got to him before you did, huh?
Oh, that was shade.
You have something to say, then say it.
We all know how you operate. You've been trying this nice guy routine lately, but I don't buy it for a second. At least this one died quick.
Sarah621, our own Alex, is asking, do we think playing him
We've been using a
Batman
secure channel.
as
Say
this
we
kind of
don't
noble
leave.
guy is a contemporary lionization of
Command.
noblesse
Anyone there?
oblige? Alyssa, what do you think?
What is it, Gordon?
Maybe.
Turn that
Maybe.
Yeah, I have an English degree, but I might need some definition of terms there.
Noblesse oblige. I don't know. Batman's and like the. Jeez. Hold on, I'm gonna let Batman do his thing here. I think the Batman. It's interesting. Batman as a sociological and psychological like understanding of American culture is really interesting because he does, come from like his origins of like what rich people were when he was made in like the 30s and 40s versus what rich people are now are two different things. Like who he was made by. Like the rich person adventurer isn't even a trope anymore, but it's still what like Batman's origins sort of were in.
Bruce?
But now it's like a central part of like, the Dark Knight.
GCPD's been compromised. The children of Arkham were listening the whole time.
Yeah, I know that I've read things that have
That's
kind of
what
like
I'm
played
going
up
to
like the
find
decline
out.
of Superman and the like when the Nolanverse films were first coming out, where Batman became a more popular figure
Alfred,
because he
I'm
had
sending
that
over
like dark,
evidence of
conflicted nature
some
to
kind of
him.
encrypted
So people
Yeah,
were more
communication
willing to like
signal.
overlook that like rich boy with the death wish kind of thing he had going on.
Yeah.
It's
because they
coming
didn't
up on
want
my
that
screen
perfect.
now,
They
but
wanted a flawed
I'm
hero who
afraid
they
it
could
looks
like
like
relate
a
to.
bunch of
Yeah.
gibberish to
Sorry,
me.
had to close some stuff to try
I
and
need
keep
to go
the
to Wayne Tower and look into this.
stream good
Get me
quality.
Lucius on the line.
Yes, right away.
Telltale does sometimes struggle with and we're sort of seeing
If
it
the
here
public
sadly.
finds out the
The
police aren't
technical
able to
execution of the game
communicate.
sometimes run into trouble. Like I had to turn the graphics down and make this work.
I mean,
Fix
luckily,
this,
like
Alfred. We'll make it right.
their visuals are so stylized
We just
usually,
have
where
to
like
stay
it's
focused.
not the graphics aren't gonna like make or break a pretty game for
Yeah.
the most part. But
I admire your
Yeah.
determination, sir.
isn't Batman running on a
Just
newer
be
version of their
careful,
engine too?
Bruce.
I want to say.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I
Though
have
they've sort
Lucius
of
on the
been
line now.
they've sort of been quiet in
Bruce, are you
years
there?
about like how
I'm
they
looking at this
handle the
data
tech for their
Alfred sent me.
games.
It's messy.
I have to know what the children of Arkham are doing. How fast can you decrypt?
Oh, and you know what? Sometimes certain,
Yeah,
like
it's
with
a
this,
tough
with all the
one,
streets
but I should
rushing
have it
by, I
cracked
think
soon
that
if you
might
can
be
meet
putting
me
a
at
strain
Wayne
on this
Tower.
little setup
Oh,
we've
yeah.
got here.
Already on my way.
Batman's really lucky he never hits traffic.
Yeah, he never does he?
Zipping around the road like that.
Yeah. Not the same as if he was in Los Angeles. Oh man, everyone's like looking real sour at Bruce Wayne.
Oh, grumpy.
Because everyone thinks his family's like really bad right now.
I mean, his family kind of was really bad in this universe, though, weren't they?
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing. Like this one deals
Almost
with.
there,
I
Lucius.
think Robert
I'll meet
Rath
you down
wrote a
in the
cool thing
lab.
for Sam about
Some
how this
aspects
deals
of the
with like
children of Arkham
the legacy
surveillance
of
are
like billionaires in America
worrying.
and stuff, and like inherited wealth, inheriting like not just like the power of your parents,
Bruce.
but the crime, like their
Sure,
crimes and
I
stuff.
didn't think you'd be here. I was,
Real quick, shout out to
I used
Pad
to
and
look to
Pitt for
Thomas
auto
for
hosting our
guidance in
stream.
hard times.
Thanks for doing that, Pad.
Seems silly
Hopefully you can hear us.
after everything that's happened. You know what they say about old habits.
Yeah, I miss them too. Both of them.
Yeah, you get
I
to spend a
know.
lot of time saying how much you miss
Every
your
day,
family.
I wish a father was still with us. He was wise.
So did Bruce
beyond
kind of
his
find out about
years.
the rotten
Martha.
stuff his dad did, like
She was
after they
such a
died? I'm guessing,
delight
like
to have
recently, or was
around.
this something he grew up knowing?
No, recently, like he had to
I've
confront
been
Alfred. It
called
was
in for an
Falcone who told him because we were
emergency
hunting down
I
Falcone
wasn't
as part of like the
told
weird
about
shit that's been going on.
You weren't invited, Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are the topic of discussion for the board.
I figured I wouldn't need a
They
lot of
want to
background
decide
for a
what your
Batman game,
future
but
at
they
Yeah.
kind of flipped this one on his head.
Whether
Yeah, the first
to
episode is a lot of setup. The second
dismiss
episode is a lot of
or
cool
not.
stuff, and we're seeing where the third
You
episode is
have to
going.
understand.
It feels
Bruce,
very subtle so
this
far.
company is bigger than any
I'm
one
trying to
Oh.
think.
individual.
Telltale's third episodes are
We have to
usually
keep face
where things go into an upswing, aren't they?
after
Yeah.
this scandal.
Back.
What my
I
father.
feel like the fourth episode's the one that's like,
I'm
criticized
not
a lot.
him, Regina.
Yeah.
I would never.
Although- I think
compromise
second and
the lives of
four.
innocents
Yeah,
for my
Tales
own
did really
benefit.
good with four.
I know that, Bruce. But
This
you
is one
have
I
to
haven't played
understand
yet.
that
I'm a
what the
horrible
public
person.
wants to
Yeah.
hear isn't always
This is a
what
very
we want to
frequent
hear.
Batman
The
comic
whole
book where Bruce
city
Wayne is put
is
in, and like,
watching
oh,
to
well, the
see what
board
our
wants to
next
force you
move
out
is
of your
going
own
to be.
company.
Bruce, I've
I
got
really
you.
like how Batman
You need to
Beyond
get
handled
down
Bruce
here.
Wayne's relationship with his
Now.
company, because
I
he
worked
was
with
trying
your
to
parents
wrest
for
control of it
years,
back from
and
like
neither
the
of them
villain
gave
of that
any
series.
indication of foul
Mhm.
play.
Yeah.
How could you have ever known?
Bruce.
It is
They're
interesting that
nothing like
WB
you,
gave them
Bruce.
so much license to like
We
push pretty
always
far.
build up the people
Um,
closest to us. When they fall,
I appreciate the sentiment, Regina. Thank
See,
you.
I'm trying to be nice.
I mean what I said before.
Well, she'll remember
Families
that
like
though.
ours need
Yeah,
to
she'll
flock
remember.
together. Perhaps
Um,
now.
What do you
more
think
than
about the
ever.
fact that
I should head
Telltale's
down.
going to be a Switch
I don't
partner?
want them to
Because
make a
that is
decision
correct, right? Can you
without me.
back me up on that?
I'll come
Yeah,
find you
I'll double check real quick, but I'm 90% sure I saw their name on there.
Yeah.
I'll be right down, Lucius.
But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
it's true,
excited
yeah.
for that. Yeah. I mean, Telltale has a habit of like publishing their games on everything because they publish for iOS and Android too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's not really like surprising that they'd be supporting one.
Yeah.
But
What do you feel about like a game company like that has to support? How do you feel about? I mean, like I can't think of many companies that are trying to put the exact same game on what are going to kind of be like 6 different platforms.
yeah, I'm really for it, and I'm glad that Telltale has like an engine and they've got a kind of game structure that allows them to bring that experience because it helps kind of bring the narrative experience to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for. 'Cause, I don't know, Telltale games are really like accessible from a gameplay point of view.
Yeah.
Where there's like, it's really easy to get invested in the plot. It's not difficult to pick up the buttons you need to press to do it. Like, I got my mom to play The Walking Dead like a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
And she struggled with like I tried to get her to play Left 4 Dead when I was in high school, and
Yeah.
she couldn't do the 2 joysticks at once to like look around and move.
Yeah.
But I got her on Telltale games, and she was able to pick that up really quickly and was really enjoying the decision to it. So it has a lot of potential for non-gamers, especially.
Can you talk more about that? Like, what do you feel about Telltale? I mean, it's sort of obvious what makes it successful in some ways, but can you talk about anything you noticed in particular that she responded to really well?
I think just the idea of having like interacting with the game in more than just like you complete an objective. So being able to like put a bit of yourself into a game that you're playing is kind of something appealing for people who might not be familiar with the genre otherwise.
Yeah. Do you feel the controls were still complicated at all for her? Because like, what was she playing on?
She was playing on my laptop, my MacBook way back when. So. Yeah, it was a little difficult at first, but then again, the combat sequences are pretty forgiving too. If you don't get the QTEs down, you just get to reload and try again, and they checkpoint fairly frequently too. So, not a lot of like actual difficulty there, and I think you still get like that sense of reward when you like mash the button and press the whatever to push whatever you're doing or something.
Real quick, this choice is funny. Good news, bad news. Just spit it out.
No shortage of bad news lately. Might as well just pile more.
Interesting.
You see this back
I got a couple friends to actually play. It was interesting. I had them play Life is Strange. I had her play Life is Strange, and I had her play Tales from the Borderlands, and she loved both, and she wanted to play more of both, so she had a far easier time with Tales. Because even though Life is Strange has a similar narrative structure, the fact that it even just uses 2 joysticks was very hard. Even just for the basic camera movement of that game.
Yeah, I think for people who aren't familiar with that, it's something that I think a lot of us take for granted is how used to like, we've wrapped our minds around the idea that one joystick should control the camera while the other controls movement.
Yeah.
And that's not a very natural thing if you think about it.
Yeah. Have you done any other like reading or writing about accessibility in games in general?
I haven't really. I've done like some casual reading, but nothing specific. Not as much as I should, because it's a really interesting topic. But
this is cool. I like this text adventure. Not text adventure, but this this messaging thing. This is kind of something that it's a good UI here.
I can fortify it, but it's going to take longer to force them out of the system.
I think that's interesting is games are actually using this text messaging interface a lot better these days, because you have Lifeline, you have the Mr. Robot game. Like text, it turns out text messages are good for text adventures.
Certainly knew how to cover
yeah, it's kind of cool because I think we saw that creep into like TV shows first and then pop up here. Like I saw Men, Women, and Children, a movie like a couple years ago on a plane, and they would have to have like the text messages pop up on the side of the screen like that did, because that's such a big way of like how we communicate now.
Yeah,
leaving it out of games just doesn't feel natural.
Yeah, it's interesting how then things like real world design can influence game design like that, and like the need for what people commonly understand. Right.
Well, and even the idea that like in 20 years, if a different mode of communication takes over, like then people playing older games and seeing text messages are going to be kind of like, the games are going to be dated by a mechanic we consider modern.
Yeah. This is one of those fun moments where you just get to walk around to Telltale space and check out stuff.
And Luke, stubborn as always.
I think of what Gotham.
You always get the best one-liners in these.
And I think of them. They give me all the reason I need to work with Batman. He's the only one that will truly protect them.
Interesting.
And he will, Lucius. Always.
Interesting. Like we said earlier, good characterization. Sweet, let's watch the news. In the chat, Paynop says hi.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, Paynop.
Despite his run-in with the masked group on the way to the event.
I think my favorite thing about Telltale games, I think I've said that twice or 3 times now, but like my new favorite thing about Telltale games is the silence option.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through and like playthroughs when I played The Walking Dead, the first one like 4 times in college, and I think my last playthrough I just went through and did the silent option for everyone.
Yeah.
And just the way different characters like react to that and just get like annoyed, and like it's really telling how like when you become the silent protagonist again, the game allows you to do that, and you can kind of access a different side of the game through it.
Yeah, interesting. I've never played the silent option. What's it like?
Next up,
it's funny for the most part, because I remember there was one scene where it was in The Walking Dead and you were talking to like Kenny or something. There's a high tension moment and they're just like, yeah, what should we do? Or like they're fighting between the two of them, and they look over at you and you just kind of like shrug a little bit, and everybody eye rolls and keeps yelling. So it gets to a point where it forces you to make a decision between one or two in the combat, where the dialogue will keep looping through.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of interactions in the game where you can just do the silent option, which I think a lot of people ignore in the actual gameplay.
Yeah.
But
real quick, I just picked up the batarang, and it reminded me, wasn't there a news story lately where someone actually like threw a batarang at a car or something? Like it was really creepy because it was like a pattern that could have hurt someone.
One back from Selena.
Yeah, I think so. I think didn't they get arrested for that too? I want to say.
Yeah, I think so. That was weird.
Yeah, it was one of those stories we laugh at, but that's actually kind of messed up.
Yeah, I feel Batman is a really weird thing with culture where, like, the way he's been adapted and told lately has empowered a lot of people. I don't know, like the violence of him comes out a lot more these days as opposed to like some of the other things about his character that I think have always been really strong.
What's this?
And that's what makes some people really want to live this fantasy.
Some new armament to assist you in the field.
It's kind of what the Arkham games have frustrated me about is that like the Arkham games make it a point that you can like just randomly beat up groups of thugs in their new open world environments. But what I liked about Arkham Asylum was that there was always a point to every fight. Like there was every time you came across a group of thugs, they were actively trying to stop you. So you aren't like just running around beating up people.
A new sticky bomb I developed.
I think keeping the violence in a narrative aspect is a lot more important than just like going around and just beating the crap out of everyone because it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's actually very important with certain characters. Like there are certain games where I'm like, well, like where I think violence in games is overstayed to what sense that it is violence per se, but like a character who is not nominally violent being empowered with that kind of like just such power is
yeah.
I always wonder why you had a table that could hide
I think like the Assassin's Creed games, I remember like as soon as it gave me open world realm when I was a kid playing those, I went through and I tried to like assault just some random person walking around, and the game scolds you for that and tells you, no, this isn't what that character would do.
Yeah.
So if you do it 2 more times, we're gonna kill you, basically.
Yeah, we talked about that last week when we were talking about Westworld as we were playing Slayer Shock, because what games let you do can sometimes be just as like, even like when we say like, oh, Westworld's ultimate freedom, therefore it's the ultimate video game, but like, no, games put barriers around it, they just trick you into freedom. So that kind of reiterates that point.
Get that back to the Bat computer.
Get that back to the Bat
computer. It'll install the added security measures. You'll also have all the info I found on the Children of Arkham's activity within the system.
I did hear this episode had something of a slow start, so I don't think we necessarily know if we're going to get to the great stuff in our hour together.
Now get out of here. Regina doesn't like that.
We talked about the Nintendo Switch earlier. Alyssa, what do you think about, you were reading earlier today that investors aren't super hot on the Switch?
Hold on a second.
Sure thing.
Closed out of all my tabs, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, Nintendo had their press conference this morning, just for folks in the chat who haven't heard, and there were some interesting results, because there was a lot to unpack, because they had a lot of big financial stuff happen this year, between Pokemon Go, selling their ownership in the Mariners, and such.
Yeah, and I was gonna say right after the Switch reveal too, Nintendo stocks dropped because investors weren't liking so much what they saw.
Yeah, that's always an interesting thing though. Like, why do you think investors didn't like? Did the article give any more clarification about that?
Open up.
I have to skim read again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's something with the fact that they were hoping for a push for
maybe
mobile.
you left.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, especially with Nintendo dealing
The board has voted.
Diva, right? They're working with Dina to create mobile games. DNA. Yeah. I write it more than I say it, so.
Right.
Yeah, they're working with DNA to push out, I think, a couple more mobile games between now and 2018, 2017. So really, Nintendo's Switch announcement didn't really work with that at all, and it just seemed kind of like it was a good thing for consumers, but it was more of the same, I guess, from more investors' point of view.
Yeah. I'm still remain optimistic about the Switch's chances. I just think it's interesting, like when investors signal about what their priorities are. I think especially Nintendo board calls are really interesting because the Nintendo investors I think have been very interested for a long time in that company going to mobile and pushing it on mobile, and they've been the company's pushed back against that for a while. Now they seem to be doing
only logical course of action.
Just the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Which is
and especially with a company like Nintendo, who's always big. Whenever they release a console recently, it's been like they want to do something innovative and weird and kind of like out there, which is appealing from like a consumer standpoint. But I can imagine that wouldn't be so. That investors don't like risk so much because there's no guaranteed payout, or they don't know if it's going to do well. Whereas I don't think the Wii did quite as well as people would have liked either.
And who?
I don't know.
The Wii did, I think, well enough. It was the Wii U that struggled with it.
Yeah, the Wii did really well. The Wii U kind of fell off of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think Nintendo's kind of like
what?
With the oh no, I tabbed away. What did I miss?
Sorry, Oswald Cobblepot is the new CEO of Wayne Enterprises. What?
Oh.
That's so weird.
Bruce Wayne's look right there was perfect.
Were, well, victims of your father's actions. This company
is so
was
weird.
built on the land he stole from the Cobblepot family.
or the board.
I think personally the Switch is a good like balance between Nintendo's weird innovations and still kind of keeping with the mainstream market. So I was honestly a little surprised that it didn't get received as well as it did by the financial side of things.
Yeah, it seemed like the press and the players were pretty optimistic.
Yeah, Twitter was going crazy.
Yeah.
I hear you've been keeping yourself pretty busy, Oswald.
Oh, shade.
You sure you
Shade.
can handle this? Wasn't there a revolution that you had to handle?
I'm seriously confused about how.
The board has complete
Sass.
confidence in Mr.
The sass is real.
As his resume goes into great detail, his endeavors in England have been quite successful.
The double entendres are all
Besides,
over the place.
the company basically runs itself.
It's interesting that it's putting an American
CEO
against
is
a Brit
mostly
here.
a figurehead. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
That would make sense.
Well, then I guess congratulations are in order.
Bruce is so sassy.
Nice to know you'll be the one trapped in this tiny office all day.
Oh, I'm sure it's bigger than it looks.
It is really. This is a little weird
I'm
in that, like
afraid
when we
we
first
need
met
you
Oswald,
to
he was
leave
so
the
like
building
anti-establishment, anti-corporate.
We'll have your personal effects.
Like obviously
Yeah.
it's a farce, but and he's clearly making some power play. But it's a little weird to see everyone just be like, oh yeah, this guy who we just saw in a trench coat and raggedy clothes a few 2 episodes ago is hanging out in here now.
Cleans up nice.
Yeah.
Oh, how sweet. Graduation present.
I think, yeah, especially with Batman, it's a lot of like balancing like this new Oswald Cobblepot narrative versus the ones that have been established in the past.
Oh,
Like,
Bruce.
dang.
Clumsy. No wonder you're not being trusted with nice things anymore.
I'll call
I was
someone
expecting
in
like
to clean
the handshake and then the
It'll
psych,
only
so he
take a
slicks
minute.
back his hair after doing that.
Apologies, I don't know where my head was.
Probably halfway out the door, mate.
Oh god,
Yeah.
so much
that
shade.
must be it.
Um,
Careful, clean that up.
I guess we
Oz.
also got the news today
You
that
might
the
cut
Switch is
yourself.
expected to sell 2 million units, or Nintendo expects to sell 2 million units on
Time
launch.
to go,
Did
Bruce.
you see
Yeah.
that?
Yes, Bruce.
I saw
Time
the
to
headline
go.
for it.
I
Yeah.
have a little redecorating to do.
Oh,
Your
rude.
taste is a little too discreet.
I feel like
for me.
Nintendo's always been pretty
I think
optimistic
maybe
about
I'll add a fish
their product
tank.
sales, though.
I know you,
so I don't know.
Oswald. I know what you really are.
I'm no different than you, mate. Just a hardworking citizen.
I don't know. I have a hard time. Like, I'm really excited for the concept of it, but I have a hard
I
time
doubt that.
speaking to like how great it's going to be when we haven't actually heard that much about it outside of a video that just shows intent more than anything.
Yeah, they've confirmed in the last 2 days that they don't intend to release anything about the specs
I'll
for the
have
rest
IT
of the
come set
year.
you up.
I think they
Yeah.
confirmed that on that call
Thank
too,
you so much, Regina.
which is I think interesting from a dev perspective. Like, they're asking devs to put a lot. I mean, like obviously they seem to be talking with the devs they've talked with, but for other developers, they're saying, "Hey, just wait, we'll get this together."
Well, Nintendo's had like a weird relationship with third-party support in the past too
Yeah.
for their consoles,
This
but
isn't over yet, Lucius.
so I don't know.
But they seem to be they seem to be, at least like this year, they've done a lot to boost their indie support. And it's interesting. I don't think, has Telltale ever been on a Nintendo platform?
Get in. You know that.
I don't think so, but I'm gonna eat those words if I'm wrong. I'll
Yeah.
look it up. I don't remember.
No.
Lucius,
I don't think
need
they
to
have.
know there's
for the
someone I
record,
can trust
which is
on the
interesting to
inside.
see. I will say, like I was talking about last week, will you
Bruce.
play Skyrim on a
I've always
plane?
been here
Will you
for
play
you,
Skyrim on a
not
train?
them.
Will you play Batman on a plane? Will you play Batman on a train?
I'll have to start working on our side project.
Oh, jeez.
That means no new tech, no repairs if you
Oh,
And I
major
feel like-
choice, major choice.
Oh God.
could keep an eye on things for you. Let you know what they're up to. Feed you what information.
Is
I
Lucius?
can.
Yeah,
no, Lucius, I need you to stay here.
that was a pretty major choice.
You're the
right there.
only ally I have in this
You're
building.
gonna
It's
regret it in
important.
literally 5 minutes.
I need you
I-
to be my eyes and ears.
The only game I regretted all my decisions in was Game of Thrones, which I
Keep
wasn't as
Oswald
big a
out of
fan of.
R&D.
I apologize if any
Yeah.
Telltale
Anything
staff
comes
are
up.
watching, but I felt frustrated in that game by the way decisions
that
just
drive
always seem to
safe.
smack you in the face. With,
Yeah,
with
but I
no-
feel like that's the nature of Game of Thrones.
right,
But-
which is maybe also my problem with Game of Thrones in general.
Yeah. I don't know. It was I enjoyed playing through that one, but it definitely was a weird fit for kind of like the Telltale formula. Where, I mean, usually it's kind of like your choices ultimately matter a little bit, but in the end it still comes to one main point.
Yeah.
Where in Game of Thrones, like,
Believe it.
basically
Which part?
the story is designed to make every decision just come back to bite you later.
Yeah, which isn't
And it
pleasant.
just feels too, yeah, it felt too heavy-handed for the kind of game
just
that
one thing
people
after
want out of a
another.
Telltale game.
That's
So
why
Yeah.
I'm glad I have you, Al.
I did enjoy it for what it's worth. It just wasn't. It's probably my least favorite right now. of the-
Yeah. Have you? What do you think about other games that have adapted the Telltale formula a little bit?
I played about half of
Lieutenant Gould,
Life is Strange,
he
and
said
I
there's
really
nothing to
enjoyed
be
that
done
one.
about
How
Oswald
it
Cobblepot.
I don't know, it's worked with the Telltale formula without just like outright mimicking it, and brought its own stuff to the genre as well. So
yeah,
I don't know, I feel like that one dealt better with choices too, like your big choices, where it was more subtle rather than the kind of like freeze frame moment that Telltale games have.
Yeah. What do you think about the possibility, like we talked earlier about how accessible these is, do you think like there's any way to like build games with these kind of mechanics to specifically talk to a different kind of audience?
I think, well, actually, the Nintendo Switch could be beneficial for that because it's kind of on more of it's a big tablet, so there's a lot of that mobile game aspect to it.
Yeah, though, just to confirm, we still haven't heard if it's going to have touchscreen yet, and the odds are not looking good for touchscreen support on that thing.
Forgot about that. You see a big screen nowadays, and you just kind of assume that it's going to have touchscreen, but... Which
is maybe a problem that console buyers will have when they look at that.
Yeah. I had a problem when I had a job where our computer we worked on was a touchscreen, and then I went home and I started like tapping at my screen because I got so used to using a touchscreen to interact with things.
Oh no.
So I don't know, I could see that being an issue.
I have a Surface Pro, so which is really weird because I feel like the traditional Windows interface doesn't lend itself to touchscreen interface very well, so I don't use my touchscreen a lot for it, but when I do, it's very useful. Like I've drawn some notes on it that have been very helpful when working on projects. I'm just going to point out, I just need to do a brief moment over here. I think the funny thing I always have with these Batman games is when you come to the Gotham media feed and you get to read the Gotham headlines. As a news writer, I think there are some structural issues with these, but I know like they wrote these for narrative. Like,
break out the red pen and start making some notes.
Yeah, break out the red pen. All right, let's...
There was a game, speaking of like games that were inspired kind of by the Telltale structure, oh shoot, what was it called? It was Knee Deep. It was a kind of narrative style game that took after the Telltale formula, where you played multiple characters and had to make decisions and stuff like that. And they actually, like, one of the characters is a blog writer.
Yeah.
So one of the aspects they worked into the game was you had to like periodically write a blog about what was going on. So you had to choose the event that happened. You had to choose like what angle to put on it, and that would affect like how people people would read your blog, and then that would affect like how they would help you in the future.
Yeah.
It would help like how much money you got or how your publication thought of you.
Yeah. Interesting. What would you recommend developers play that for? Like if you were to randomly recommend it, and like how would you recommend it to developers?
I would say like the first episode handles that really well, and I'd say it's an important play to kind of like take a different look at narrative structure, because a lot of times we get so focused on presenting a story and having the audience like interact with that story a little bit rather than like craft it themselves. But it was a good kind of demo of how interactability can affect a narrative as a whole without actually like affecting the big choices. So it was really where Telltale does really well with like the macro decisions, and this game did really well, at least in the first episode, with the smaller ones.
Any action he takes against them.
Yeah, this is an interesting little mechanic that Telltale brought in. I mean, they always found a cool way to like turn their touch interface into cool stuff, but they've I think
not yet.
I think what I really like about this little map here is they give you a chance to like they turn like these little holographic Gotham things. Like even though it's interesting because even though this is like characters are interacting with this is really like a kind of UI design. So even though it's in the world, it's a thing you're interacting with as a player. And so I actually think Telltale, like a little secret to how Telltale's made this narrative thing work, is that they take little moments like this, and so you're not just looking like a pinboard or something. Like the fact that this holographic map is here, it turns into UI for both character and player.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I really like about Telltale tells stories that are centric on one character that you're playing typically.
Yeah.
Except for Game of Thrones, but they don't do that through like a first-person narrative or a first-person view like you'd think. That would make sense for a game where you're primarily dealing with the thoughts of one character. Yeah. But they give you this kind of like look into your environment where you're pulled away from that character, so you get a broader view of like rather than their internal operations, you get to kind of look at how they interact with the environment more.
Yeah.
Considering the alternative, yes.
I'm a little surprised that anyone, like, if a police line gets hacked, you change the channel. It's very bad.
I don't know, I feel like Gotham's police force isn't, like, cutting edge, typically.
Gotham's police force is always the problem in every Batman story. It's never good.
20 years.
A rather extensive list.
With my father's signature as the transferring doctor. Security footage.
These date back decades.
The video at the debate. It's real.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
How they found
you
their
got to see
evidence.
Thomas Wayne experimenting
Something
on someone.
Hill did gave them access.
I got to say, like,
At least
it was.
now I know the truth.
Like it was some kind of privilege, but
Had the privilege of watching his father torture people.
yeah.
I think that was a really cool decision they made to have Bruce Wayne find out about his dad's transgressions, like, as the story started, instead of it being established in the universe before.
Yeah.
Because it kind of introduces the player to this world while also introducing the character to it.
Yeah. And
You have that little bit of, like, segue into it.
They also do a great fake out earlier on where you're where like after like the Gotham after the Wayne family's implicated in a thing.
I've seen enough.
After that happens, you have the opportunity to give a quote to the press, and you can say something like, "My family is like blameless in all this,"
and have Lucius look into it as well. We need to find a way to
and it turns out that your family's not blameless. So I did that, and I was just like,
Very good.
"Oh shoot!" Carly was watching with me as I hit episode 2, or as I hit later on. She was like, "Oh, you fucked up." See, transforming Lamborghini. Oh, this is a fun question. Good old Alex Walrow weighing in from the chat. Why should anyone play a video game for this kind of narrative when the Batman graphic novels exist?
I don't know. I feel like it's easier to get invested in a story when you feel like your decisions matter in it. Rather, I know books are like considerably cheaper than video games, which is the reason I read a lot of those as a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like video games kind of offer, like, even just a game you're playing rather than like interacting with, like if you play like Call of Duty or something like that. I feel like it gives you an additional level of responsibility for the characters, and you care about people more deeply because you have like a physical aspect tying you to the game.
Yeah. I will also say two things. One, this game probably costs about as much as a comic book trade that would cover the entire same story. So it's comparable, just might take longer.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I would say is the second immediate example is that this story literally isn't in the Batman comics. Like, if you're a Batman fan, this story is different, which is like, it sounds like a marketing thing to say that, but to answer the question very literally,
my mayoral portrait is scheduled for this morning.
to answer the question just so literally, like, this is a different story, and it's really cool that, just like the movies, like, why should you watch a Batman movie when you have a Batman comic book?
I went in a landslide. Loved, supported, but this...
You did win in a landslide, Harvey. The other guy got landslided on. But I'm
hated. Cities against me.
So I think that's just like the interesting argument that game makers have hit a point where they don't just have to adapt a book.
Really a win if it's by default.
They don't just have to adapt a book; they can do their own thing. That's cool. That's cool that Telltale can do this and not just like have to make a spin-off video game.
Yeah.
Well, especially like there was that argument between like movies and books, where some people prefer to read the book because you get more of an insight into what characters are thinking.
Yeah.
In a movie, you don't have that narration going on.
Yeah.
In the book, you can read a line of dialogue and then you'll see the character's reaction to that.
Yeah.
I think video games kind of give a visual aspect to it that's entertaining to watch, while also being able to capture that like line of inner dialogue that books are able to have.
Yeah.
What is going on?
The technology at Wayne Enterprise is compromised. The children of Arkham are using our tech.
Oh, by the way, this is actually a really cool narrative thread. The fact that Wayne Enterprise has been compromised. There was a book that did this, The Court of Owls, where like Batman was basically fighting against his own Wayne stuff because it felt like the enemy in that game was using all his own technology against him too.
The children of Arkham.
Okay.
They attacked my car. They are after me, Bruce. They want me dead. They tried at the debate, and they will try again. How am I expected to leave when I've got a target on my back?
Everybody's coming to get
you. It's like they're always there.
I don't get why people even live in Gotham after like anything.
Yeah. Just get out.
Like there are other cities in the world.
Yeah. Make them outlaws. Declared the children of Arkham public enemy.
According to Batman vs Superman, Superman City is right across the lake.
I think that's actually like a more canon thing than like the movie implied. I just think because the movies and other things haven't talked to each other for a while, that everyone it's not common knowledge.
I mean, I knew that they were like cities in the same country and general area, but I didn't think it'd be like a stone's throw where you could like wave at your friend in Gotham from across the building.
Yeah, I think it's one of those like Marvel does it one way, DC does it another. I think DC split New York into two cities, Metropolis and Gotham, and Marvel just has everything happen in New York City. And it's supposed to be like there's a lot of books and articles written about
GCPD breathing down his neck anymore. He'll be able to really make the children of Arkham pay.
Oh, he's trying to get Batman to go violent.
He's a vigilante, but Batman's always respected the law. I don't think he'll change his ways.
Bruce trying to be like, oh, I don't think he'll do that.
And he's limiting.
But I think it's an interesting thing. It's like one of those interesting story things. Like, how do you define a city through a story? Uh-oh, he flips the coin.
Anything done in this city.
He flipped the coin.
Foreshadowing.
Alex, to answer your question from the chat, there's National City, where Supergirl hangs out. And where does the Flash hang out? I forget.
We can use the
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read comic books.
Yeah.
We'll play.
There's also the small town that Superman crash landed into.
Smallville.
So yeah.
Especially with all the
Which
trouble.
they made a TV show about too.
Very embarrassing that I forgot the name of Smallville.
Uh-oh, don't tell Harvey what to do.
Oh.
Oh, God. Bruce, I'm
It's
so
kind of a
sorry.
neat shot where he was like dipping in and out of the shadows as like when he realized what he had done.
Yeah, we got to give credit to the Telltale animators, by the way,
Mr.
who worked
Dunn?
really hard on this series. Like the
photographer's
artists and
ready
animators
for
put in a
you.
lot
Thank
of
you,
work to
Deborah.
make this
I'll be
thing
right out.
happen. Because like even though we talk about the writing, like there's so many like cool details. I think there was a
Please,
Breakfast
Bruce.
Club tribute in
Don't tell anyone
Tales from the
about this.
Borderlands that like the guy tweeted he worked like forever to get it
thinking out
together.
loud, that's all.
And it was like a
I
really
didn't
cool
mean
like
any
that's
of it.
how much they care about this stuff
Just
too.
the stress of the
Yeah.
job kind of gets to me.
Look,
So because of the way that
therapist he told
Telltale
me
games
about.
work, they have a lot of like
think you
framing
should call
opportunities where they're able to kind of like
Maybe she can
capture
help you
the
work
way
through-
film handles that stuff.
Yeah. Alex,
Without
is,
going
this is the-
into
Alex is a
cutscenes.
little incredulous that it was called
think about
National
it,
City. And Alex, yes,
Yeah,
if you watch
I'll
Supergirl the
look
TV
into
show, it is indeed National City, but it's blatantly Los Angeles. It's fair. And there's someone living in LA. It's very funny. Although for season
See
2,
you
I guess
around,
they're going to
Bruce.
Vancouver. So Supergirl TV show is pretty great, by the way. People should watch it. I know we're about the art and business of games, but briefly, we're about the art and business of TV. We have 15 minutes here, so I know we've talked about headlines a lot today as we've talked. But this is also usually where, if we have headlines we want to talk about, we bring it in here.
Wonder how Vicky managed to score that.
What? Interview with the what? It seems like it should be a bigger deal, like than we're getting right now.
Bruce?
He has an
Have you
Android
seen
phone.
today's copy of the Gazette?
What do you think about Turtle Rock, like the Turtle Rock news from today, and how they're not working on Evolve anymore? 'Cause that news broke last night.
Yeah, no, it's kind of unfortunate because it's one of those examples of when a company can work so like hard on a game and then have it taken away from them because they don't actually own the property they're working on.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they were working on getting Evolve as a free-to-play model. It had already been on PC. They were hoping to bring it to console, and then their parent company stepped in and said that they'd be taking over, and that the original Evolve team wouldn't be working on the game anymore.
Yeah.
After this interview, I'm sure the police will become suspicious of all.
I'm trying to find. I had that up, but I lost it again because my tabs are a mess.
Oh no.
True. We need to be careful. I can't afford to waste time with Vicky.
Oh, I just got some push notification about the Pokemon Go event. That's interesting to see Pokemon Go finally get into live events.
Right away.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to reinstall it. It's just for that, just to catch a couple more Ghastly. But I know the splash art for the loading page is really cool. I'll give it that.
Who is this?
I don't know. I got really burnt out of Pokemon Go pretty fast, and I know it's still doing incredibly well
A friend of
comparatively, but
Yeah, just a concerned citizen wishing to remain anonymous.
Nice.
Or do I now have Batman for a friend?
If you stand for Gotham, then yes.
He's calling as Batman. Yeah, well,
I've been
being
meaning to
Bruce
thank
Wayne.
you.
Yeah,
What
good
you did in
stuff.
the debate.
Not sure I would have made it
What's
out
cool
there
about
otherwise.
this scene, by the way, real quick
I'd
note,
say I really
I noticed though Telltale will reuse a lot of environments, so the scene Bruce is in right now has actually been reused a lot in these episodes. So they've been able to, I think that's one of the ways that they make this production work, is that they're able to do stuff like that and keep their art team from having to make a really new place. I wonder what that constraints that places on their storytelling team. Like, oh, we want to have this scene, but we're out of budget for a new environment. So yeah, we're back at Cobblepot Park where we were in episode 1.
it kind of reminds me of how like stage productions have to, like, you have a certain amount of sets you can make, and you have to be able to like swap them out. You don't have limitless access to that.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's kind of similar to stage and theater.
Yeah. Alex wants to know, where is DC Comics San Francisco
The
or
obvious
Portland?
question. The Children of Arkham seem to be your latest.
I'm sure they have like hipster characters,
We all
so
know
they'll
their
drop in
methods
there when the
are
time is
extreme, but what
right. They don't
about
have any
their
tech
message?
CEOs.
Their leader claims
Hipster
that
City,
Gotham's
or Underground
elite
City, there we go.
Using their power
Yeah.
often at the expense of ordinary citizens.
I'm surprised Lex
For the
Luthor hasn't been remade
Do you
into
think
like
there's any
a
validity to
kid
what they're
starting
saying?
a startup yet.
That was Batman v Superman, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh yeah, he was.
You saw what they did.
I tried to forget that movie,
Terrorizing
and you keep reminding me of it.
Sorry, I was really
some
angry
say
at
they're
that movie
liberating
too.
I want to see the extended
Well, it
cut,
doesn't matter what I
partially,
believe.
but I don't
I
know
just
if I want to
report the
submit myself
facts.
to that.
Yeah.
Their message is picking
Vicky
up
Vale's
traction.
characterization is really something
Especially since the
Carly and I, my
need to
girlfriend,
know
talked about, because
everything they
as a
told
journalist,
No one
she
need anymore.
does a lot of things that don't seem like
It
things
was a
journalists
lot
would
of
do,
posturing
like
and grandiose
interviewing the
monologuing,
terrorist
really.
leader and just kind of saying, well, he
When
might
you
have a
purge
point,
the
I'm just
city of
reporting it.
corruption
Like that
sort
seems
of
what
thing. Not
what
great
people
from
think
an
the press
investigative
are,
standpoint,
as
but
opposed to what the
publicly
press's
it up.
role
Part
actually
of the
is.
job, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the only reason you called me, you should really just read it yourself.
I'm trying to catch up with all the hard-hitting dialogue right now.
That's the first time I've ever gone silent because I didn't want to do all three of those character options. Like, I didn't want to just
all I did was
yell
write
at
it
her.
down.
I feel like silence is like extra effective when you're Batman because he's like perma-scowling.
There. I'm not selling out a source. Not even for Batman.
Nice.
The circumstances
Not even
of
for
that meeting
Batman.
are confidential. Just like this one. I'm sure he wouldn't want me telling everyone how to get a hold of you.
You're putting the safety of everyone in Gotham at risk.
This is a really
Well, if
like
you
tough
really
journalism
care about
conundrum.
the safety of Gotham, why
when you're
aren't you
stuck
looking
there.
at Bruce Wayne?
When you're
I still want to believe he's a good guy too, but with the information that surfaced, everyone's angry. Everyone wants him to answer for what his family did.
I'm just waiting for that divisive moment to drop where he has to choose, like he has to denounce Batman as Bruce Wayne or something like
No
that.
way he just slipped under your radar. But so far, no action from you against him.
Bruce Wayne is innocent. He's not responsible for what
Get
his
in your
father
personal
did.
space there,
Maybe
man.
not, but he still benefits from it. All those people suffered so that he could prosper up in that mansion of his. I'm
That's
not
interesting.
stupid.
I wonder if
know
that'll come
you
back
have
as a
some
choice
connection
later.
with him. That data drive he gave me, that was from you.
I'm really excited to see how Batman develops into as it goes forward in the rest of the episodes in the season.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, recent Telltale games like Tales from the Borderlands and Game of Thrones have had you control multiple characters, whereas earlier ones were kind of focused on mostly one character or two characters. But this Batman kind of like harkens back to that, and you're controlling one character but with two distinct personalities, which is a kind of really neat meshing of the formulas they've dealt with in the past.
Yeah. Wait, did I just accomplish nothing here?
Sure your message gets out?
Don't make me hurt you.
Please,
No,
Miss
that's-
Vale, think what you want about Bruce Wayne, but I need to find the children of Arkham before they hurt anyone
I always try to
else.
play these games like the biggest
You're
dick
right.
possible, and then like
Yeah,
halfway
held
through I
your
start
word.
feeling really bad for all my decisions.
I tried to play Mass Effect sort of like that, but then
Here.
by Mass Effect 3 I was like
This
very
is where
Paragon
we
despite
met
also
Pete.
being very Renegade. The
Please.
problem is when you download
Tell anyone I gave
when you
this to.
download the DLC, it's so easy to like just stack up all the points you need in that game.
Yeah. I have a whole big grumpy rant on how Mass Effect 1 is the best Mass Effect, and the other ones lost the RPG systems that made the game good.
Oh man, let's fight about this. Not right
I hated
now, but let's
Mass
fight
Effect
about it.
3. I know.
I love 2 though.
Yeah, 2's great.
2 is also the problem is I felt like the RPG systems of 1 cluttered. Like what? Like I replayed 1 and I was like, wow, the dialogue system and animation remains great.
Yeah.
But this combat makes me want to cry.
Oh, the combat's clunky as heck, but
And the like
Everything's
the
dark,
inventory system made me want to cry.
It's empty.
what's to hate about that spinning wheel?
They may not have gone far.
No, I really liked how that game dealt with like you had your charm intimidate options that weren't tied to your morality. So you could be a good guy intimidating someone if the time needed it, if you started up that skill. But
Yeah, I wonder if Vicky's going to turn out to be a bad
Go and have a look
person
around.
of some kind. 'Cause she's been pretty sympathetic so far, but I wonder if like I just was playing Masquerada last night,
There's a
and they
button
dropped
here.
a pretty big
Likely the
surprise
work
on
of
you
the
for
children
who
of
like
Arkham.
one of the main villains was.
I'm gonna look around, see what they've
I could see that, especially with how that last conversation kind of went, where she was not so much of like heavy-hitting journalistic integrity.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is she was like, I am journalistic integrity, but then I am
He's
also
been dead
not
for a
journalistic
while, from the
integrity.
looks of it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot
Even
to
the children of
interviewing
Arkham.
like the leaders of
Loyalty
terrorist
doesn't
groups.
give you much with these people, does it?
Seems strange.
There's something else.
There's usually like with characters like that, there's usually like an act of corruption
He was shot
that
dead
happens.
center,
And
twice,
Batman universes are always like ripe
executed.
for that kind of
Yeah.
Outlived his
return.
usefulness, I
But
suppose.
Dun dun dun.
This man's veins.
Yeah, this is the
They
drug we were
look like
talking about earlier.
Montoya's veins after she was
Okay.
drugged, only there's so much worse.
only he's dead.
The same drug from the debate.
I
What?
feared we hadn't seen
Oh right,
the
that's the
last
drug
of
that makes people
There's
like
no
lose their
puncture mark
inhibitions.
here. No
Is there like a
entry point
detective
injection.
mode for this, or is it just the Telltale point and
There
click?
is a detective mode.
Okay.
Glad for asking. It's probably coming up soon. It's kind of actually like all the other detective
They've been
modes that come up, where you
referencing
try to
the
like
map. Whatever
big
they're building
flashy
must hinge on
holographic
it
UI
somehow.
comes up and you just walk around and interact with all of it.
Okay.
Oh man, this reminds me of
depot
Mini
is
Metro.
pretty
I
centrally
should be playing
located.
Mini Metro right now. We need to stream Mini Metro.
I'm like I was gonna go download the game, saw that it's free, so I have to wait until I have money that's not for rent to pick it up, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
A detonation device, but it's disabled.
They must have intended to hook it up to something.
The timer is set for 27
I'm
minutes.
always
and
really
13
interested to see
seconds.
when characters are like
The numbers
detectives
are
or something like that,
Doesn't
how
seem
they
to be
simplify
counting
like
down yet.
what is obviously a very like smart character down to the
This
point
is
where
how
it's
they were
readable
timing
and
it around.
understandable for an
Alfred,
audience.
what stations are within a 27
Like
minute
watching
train ride
Sherlock
from
and
this
stuff like
depot?
that, where this guy's supposed to be a genius, but you should still be able to like digest his thoughts.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Batman's detective mode interfaces have always kind of like done that really well in Arkham games, where you're able to like do something simply, but then he's kind of performs it like it's this big feat of
Yeah.
reasoning.
Oh, by the way, oh, here we go, detective mode.
Yeah.
Link to, not the drug. Oh, yes, the drug. Yeah, we're gonna link this to the drug.
I need to know what they're going to do with the drug. Exactly how they're planning on releasing it.
You do need to know that, Batman. Okay, let's go look at these chemical barrels.
These barrels match the shrapnel that I found at the docks.
I do really enjoy how Telltale's kind of like revive the certain adventure game mechanics,
Yeah,
like
but-
combining objects and kind of like that.
Oh, what's interesting is that they, I mean, I also feel like they haven't, they've unrevived a lot of stuff. What the heck else do I link this to? What do I do here? This is weird. I gotta find other stuff I gotta walk around more. Oh, here we go.
Someone's been practicing chemistry.
They're gonna get an A in class.
Something spilled here.
Oh, really cool thing. This is actually really cool. See the colors on his gloves? So at the start of the
This is
game,
the
you can
drug
actually
they've been
choose the color of the UI that you've got.
It's the same as the
in order
one
to change
given
this
to
color,
Montoya
like,
and Hardman.
because it winds up showing up in a lot of the interface and stuff. And I was actually like, I couldn't tell if it was a style thing or an accessibility thing meant to help out colorblind folks, because you can pick a high contrast color or a samey color.
I mean, if it was designed to be an accessible kind of thing, like that's really awesome that they were able to work that into gameplay instead of just like a setting where somebody had to tick that, where they were actually like able to design or decide if they needed that feature or not without having to go somewhere special to get it.
Yeah, I couldn't confirm that when I was reading beforehand if that was designed that way.
Looks like they ran out.
I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to wrap up when this scene's
What are
done,
they
so we're going to
planning
finish
to do
this
with
investigation and close out the stream. But what are your Alyssa? What are some of your last thoughts on this Batman experience, if you will, compared to other Batman experiences in the world?
I don't know, I'm really enjoying this one. I like what they've done with the story versus just kind of like regurgitating Batman everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a really, I don't know, Telltale games, like, because they're stylized, they're usually really pretty, but I think that they've done a really good job with this one. The facial expressions seem a little more, I don't know, on point than they usually do. And they're usually pretty good too, but just from this little snippet I've gotten, like, I'm really excited to pick this up eventually.
Yeah, I think something that Batman benefits from as a cultural institution right now is from these kind of new interpretations.
Yeah.
My favorite comic book right now is Gotham Academy, which is part of this class of sort of teen focused but still very accessible to everyone kind of stories that both DC and Marvel have been like focusing on. And I think it's actually like it's Batman Beyond Gray's like new interpretation of the Batman, the Batverse, if you will. And I think Telltale. I actually made a tweet out comparing the two because I'm like, I think this is super important to. I think this is like actually the kind of thing that like Batman needs right now, because I think we're struggling with a little bit under the weight of the DC cinematic murderverse, and like, if you will, like Batman as a murderer is not a
traces of both chemicals here.
Is not a great concept, and the fact that both stories are like reinventing some of these concepts is a pretty good thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, even the Batman as a murderer stuff, even if that were to be a good concept, stuff like this shows that you have to like explain your reinventions and kind of work with the narrative instead of just dropping it and being like, this is how things are now.
Yeah. Alright, let's break this link. This is interesting. This is the first time I've had trouble with this link puzzle thing, where like it wasn't immediately obvious, but it is kind of a different way to do this interactive adventure thing. Gotta go break links, break links, break links. Why am I walking the walls? Yeah. Viewers, if you are having any last opinions on Batman, we'd love to hear them right now. I'm curious as to your thoughts, Alex.
A modified train car is going to be sent to Mercy Street Station.
Alright, I think this is it. I think we're closing it. Then we can link this. Absorbing agent to...
So you're kind of out of options if this isn't it.
No, I have one more combination to do.
They're manufacturing the drug so that it can be absorbed.
There we
through the
go.
skin.
So they're going to deploy like an aerosol version.
The children of Arkham must have found a way to weaponize it.
Hasn't that been that's? I mean, everything's been a plot device in Batman at one point in time.
It's kind of like, well, it's kind of like the Joker drug.
Yeah, they put that in like the water supply or something, right?
Oh yeah, in the first Batman movie, but that was like Arkham Scarecrow gas, kind of.
The timers are set to go off just as it rolls
Scarecrow
in over
wasn't
the
the one who made it. That was Ra's al Ghul's people.
Something of that scale? Releasing a drug like that in so populated an area would be devastating.
They could infect the entire city
boy.
if they had enough.
Oh boy.
Good thing you reduced their supply at the construction site.
I mean, there's a map of
There wasn't enough
the Gotham,
chemical to mix
America.
with the rest of the stock.
I guess if we wanted to know how it looked.
Yeah.
Take cover.
Alright. Well, it's 1 o'clock, and with this investigation closed, I think this is a good place to wrap up. I'm going to pause here. Thank you all for joining us today. I know this was just kind of more of a casual stream. On Friday, we'll be back. We'll be streaming Skyrim. I'm not sure if we're streaming the special edition yet, because we're still working out on, especially with yesterday's news about Bethesda not giving out review copies anymore, which I just realized we forgot to talk about.
Oh.
I don't know if we're going to be able to talk about that one Friday, because we're also going to have Brett DeVille, who was a programmer on Skyrim back in the day. He's going to be joining us just to sort of talk about his hashtag Skyrim memories. But that should be a fun show. Think you'll be watching, Alyssa?
Yeah, I think I can make time.
Nice. Hopefully we can get you. Maybe we can get you in. It's kind of, we got to keep the numbers adjusted for the when people are on the stream. But it's always fun. So hopefully
I've got like 200 hours of Skyrim help to talk about. So.
Oh my God, you might have played more Skyrim than I did.
It's sad.
But yeah, we'll be talking Skyrim on Friday. So tune in. Thank you all for coming back today, and have a good one. I'm Brian Francis, contributing editor to Gamasutra.
And I'm Alyssa Macklin, also contributing editor. Thanks.
Nice. Have a good one, everyone.